Mercedes are in huge trouble. They haven't been able to focus on the W14 as much as they liked during last season, causing them to be behind schedule for the 2023 season. With reports going out that employees are constantly working overtime, they may not even get the car finished on time. Mercedes has pushed back the development of the W14 in recent months. The 2023 car will be unveiled on February 15th, with a filming day immediately following at the Silverstone circuit. According to the typically accurate Formula Uno, the German formations engineers will have to work extra hours to have the car ready on time. Mercedes has been quite busy recently, as it's fallen behind schedule. What is the root cause? Production issues arose as a result of changes made late in the W14 design process. Workers have so been asked to work extra hours in recent weeks in order to avoid starting the season behind schedule. Mercedes has apparently not totally abandoned its aerodynamic strategy of very slim side pods in 2023 as well. Despite having several issues last year and finishing third in the Constructors' Championship, the chassis retains the revolutionary philosophy that was also used in 2022. According to the Italian media, carbon fiber would be used extensively in the 2023 automobile. Many Formula One teams attempt to use as little paint as possible to come as near to the minimal weight as feasible. The heavier the vehicle, the slower the lap time. The same thing happened last week during the debut of Alfa Romeo Racing's C43. Mercedes does get more power for the upcoming season. Mercedes, according to sources, has also taken significant steps with the powertrain. The engine department at Brixworth would have discovered at least 10 extra horsepower that Lewis Hamilton and George Russell may utilize next season to compete for the world title. This engine improvement is due to increased dependability, as performance increases are no longer permitted owing to engine freezing. Will they be able to produce a race-winning car before the start of the season? Let us know in the comments down below. Another team that won't be able to upgrade that much is Red Bull, due to their budget cap breach penalties. Red Bull surpassed the budget ceiling in 2021, and the bill arrived at the end of last year. 10% less time in the wind tunnel and a $7 million punishment. But George Russell believes it will not be as detrimental to the current world champion as it appears on paper. Red Bull is permitted to spend less time in the wind tunnel since the team of Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez finished first in the Constructors' title last year, while Mercedes finished third. This is due to the aero handicap which was implemented in 2021. In 2023, Red Bull would be permitted to spend 70% of its time in the wind tunnel, while Mercedes would be allowed to spend 80%. However, there is also the penalty of the budget cap excess, which means the Milton Keynes-based team is now only permitted 63% of the total. Indeed, 10% of 70% is 7%. This is what Russell had to say about the consequences of the sentence. "I think it can be a factor," Russell acknowledged in an interview with Auto, Motor and Sport. "But the benefit Red Bull has is they started from such a high level, and they had the foundations there. We're using our wind tunnel time to find answers. For example, is that the direction we need to go? Or is that the direction we need to go?" Whereas Red Bull, because they were on the right track from the beginning, they're not problem solving, they're just adding performance. As a result, the British Mercedes driver is unsure of the magnitude of the effect. Even though it sounds like we have a lot more wind tunnel time, because they were on the right track from the start, I don't think it'll hurt them as much as it seems on paper. Because we probably use that extra 10% solving our problems, which Red Bull have already solved. Another subject where Mercedes have had some things to say about is the approval of Red Bull powertrains Ford as a new manufacturer for the 2026 engine rules. As special provisions for new engine suppliers were agreed upon as part of the package to entice new manufacturers, such as Audi, to join the sport in 2026. In essence, they're given more spending power and dyno time than established manufacturers in the run-up to the implementation of the new requirements. Within the cost cap zones, new suppliers can spend an additional $10 million in 2023, $10 million in 2024, and $5 million in 2025. They can also spend an extra $15 million in capital throughout that time period. While Audi's position as a newcomer is undeniable, Red Bull powertrains has been put into doubt by competitors, most notably Ferrari, due to the new company's ties with Honda. Christian Horner, CEO of Red Bull, has long stated that RBP is a distinct and separate corporation, with no ties to Honda and no access to the Japanese company's intellectual property. Red Bull had to assure that when it pursued an agreement for Porsche to badge the engine, an arrangement that was later followed up by Ford. The regulations for 2026 include a provision that allows providers to be classified partly new. They state, if following a review of the requested documentation, the FIA determines that a PU manufacturer does not fully satisfy the necessary conditions, The FIA reserves the right, at its absolute discretion, to grant the PU manufacturer a partial new PU manufacturer status. Partial new PU manufacturer status will give rise to a reduction of the additional rights accorded to new PU manufacturers by the technical, sporting and financial regulations. The FIA divides the manufacturer into 3 groups when calculating the new financial status: 40% for infrastructure, 50% for ICE status, and 10% for ERS status. Regarding the third item, regulations note the FIA will consider the prior experience of the PU manufacturer in Formula 1 ERS systems and potential possession of significant recent intellectual property. Because Red Bull Powertrains presently assembles battery packs for the existing Honda engine, it is assumed that the new alliance will not be granted complete new status. The loss of the 10% ERS contribution reduces its overall score to 90%. As a result, the firm will only be able to take advantage of 90% of the additional advantages on cost cap and capital expenditure limitations that Audi will obtain as a full newcomer. Red Bull will consequently lose $1 million expenditure allocation in 2023 and 2024, as well as $500,000 in 2025. Furthermore, it loses $1.5 million in capital expenditure advantages during those seasons. For sporting and technical regulations, such as dyno time, the same 3 categories are assessed independently. That is weighted at 20% infrastructure, 50% ICE, and 30% ERS. However, a company just needs 50% to obtain complete new supplier rights, and despite the ERS problem, Red Bull is at 70%, so it fits the criterion. Do they deserve to be accepted as a new engine manufacturer? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But why have Red Bull all of a sudden decided to partner up with Ford instead of Porsche or even Honda? The Milton Keynes-based team had previously seemed destined to join up with German automaker Porsche in 2026, with talks reaching such an advanced stage last year that anti-cartel authorities were warned. However, because to Red Bull's worries that Porsche desired buy-in of the team would result in the team losing its independence, the talks fell through last summer. Since then, Red Bull has formed a collaboration with Ford to assist building Red Bull's own engine from its new Milton Keynes factory. However, with Horner registering its interest in creating a power unit for the new rules in 2026 with the FIA, Red Bull team manager Christian Horner claims his team did consider perhaps staying with a Japanese car manufacturer. "We have a great relationship with Honda, and we've enjoyed so much success with them," explained Horner. And that relationship runs to the end of 2025. Both the team and Honda will be doing all necessary to contribute to the success that we've already achieved to the fulfillment of those agreements. We explored the relationship beyond 2025, but it just logistically became too complicated. Horner said that while Honda had informed the FIA of its desire to participate in the new 2026 rules, this did not ensure that it would provide an engine for the new rules. Of course, manufacturers that are registered on that entry today, it doesn't mean a commitment that they are actually going to be there in 2026, he said. "We will of course wish Honda the very best of luck in the future, but there is obviously a clear difference between the 2026 program that Red Bull Powertrains is focused on, and this relationship with Ford, and the close working relationship with Honda to obviously optimize the best performance we can out of the current homologated engine to the end of 2025. Horner stated that the way things had been planned with Honda, which resulted in it supplying Red Bull's engines until 2025, was a welcome step in helping to safeguard its team's long-term aspirations, while Red Bull Powertrains gets up and running. "We've had an incredible partnership with Honda," he said. "When they initially announced their withdrawal from Formula 1 in 2020, then it was with great sadness. That is what prompted the creation of Red Bull Powertrains to take control of our own future. As we began off on that path, clearly there was a change of plan with Honda, fortunately agreeing to continue to supply engines through the end of 2025 while, in turn, we were building up our resource for 2026. That contract we have until the end of 2025. We have a great working relationship there. They are an incredible company, and under the current regulations, we will be pushing with Honda all the way to the last race of the 2025 season. Will this be a good fit for Red Bull? Will they be able to win races with their own engine? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.